running crazy. All your other friends are busy.
Mojo Monday, sir. How are you?
I am amazing. It is a Mojo Monday. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to start a new series today. We're going to start a series on the book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'll just pop the book up here real quick so everybody can see it. I'm excited. This is really kind of a fundamental book on how to find your way to success. It's all about the habits of success and tiny changes, remarkable results, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. You know, Rick, I was laughing as I was preparing for this series because I think a lot of us think of the word habit as like a bad thing. And truth is, there's two sides to a habit. There really is. There's good habits and bad habits. It's just a habit. Yet we tend to accentuate our bad habits, but that's not necessarily 100% true. There's a lot of good habits you just probably don't even pay attention that you do, right?
100%. You're right. The connotation of habits is that they're usually more often bad than good. So half the battle here is just to reshape your perspective around habits and then take some introspective time to figure out what's working for or against you.
Yeah. So let me set us up for a minute. So obviously everybody's been through the process of the whole New Year's Day reset. I need to reset my life, all that stuff that we've talked through in the past. But the reality is you're really trying to create an outcome. I want to be healthy. I want to lose weight. I want to do all these things. And yet what this book is really speaking to is not actually specifically outcomes. It's talking to the slight change, the small change, which is really the habits. And I know I'll throw it to you. There's that analogy around the 1% difference. Why don't you give us an analogy on that?
Well, I think the easiest analogy is if you're on a mission to either aircraft or boat and you're going cross continent and you deviate or shift your rudder position or your altitude or 1 degree left or right with any regularity. If you do it over time, you'll end up on a different continent. And it's not about quantum leaps. It's about small steps in the right direction, successfully and successively executed.
Yeah. So I guess the metaphor in that is, what's the 1% in our life? And James in the book really kind of makes the case for it's your habits. What's the 1% change you could do today that over time, those 1% changes makes a drastic difference, right? And you know, the difference is in the outcome perspective or the goal perspective. You say, I want to get in shape, and there's this feeling that you're going from not in shape to in shape, and it's a straight line, and it's not necessarily a straight line, right? Where what he's saying is make the 1% change today, create a healthy habit, and let that healthy habit take you there over time. However, you know, it's the difference of a straight line from A to B versus the hockey stick we talk about, where the hockey stick means there's not a lot of change or a lot of improvement in the beginning of it, right? It's small, little incremental steps. But at some point in time, that incremental step takes off like a hockey stick does on a graph and makes crazy drastic improvements. How do you think about it?
It's a lot like compounding interest, and you know, you save on the savings and eventually it stacks up. But the good thing about the context of this book is again, it's not about, you know, waking up tomorrow and reinventing yourself, you know, going from being a sheep to a bear or a lion. I mean, this is about how do I get one step closer to that brave, excited, motivated, and successful person. And again, but it's all about activity and small things. So I think it makes it less daunting.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple other things that I think are important to he points out in the book is he says, you know, goals are really about that outcome, but we're talking about goals versus systems. And for instance, if I want to be healthy, that would be a goal, or lose 30 pounds, that's a goal. The habits are what live inside the system. And he actually makes an argument. He says, even if you didn't have a goal, Rick, but you made a 1% change, I would advocate you'd still find yourself successful at it, because the habit's more important than having the goal. Although sometimes we use the goal to set the habit, if that makes sense. So they do work together, but the habits lie inside of the day-to-day. The habits lie inside of the system.
Well, one thing's for sure, if you flip the script on a goal and the goal is your sole desire, without habits, you'll never achieve that goal. And that goes back to that New Year's resolution, mindset that often happens. You set a big goal, you're not really clear on what the micro steps are. And so, yeah, you may perform a few times, but then you never make it through the valley. So you start to feel the ascension or the improvement to the extent that it's rewarding.
Yeah.
That's part of the conversation too, and the cycle.
Yeah. He talks about that hockey stick when it's staying pretty flat before the success actually takes off. He calls that the valley of disappointment. And it's like if somebody makes a decision to go get in shape and they start going to the gym, and 3 weeks later they're going, I look the same. they're in that valley of disappointment. And he said, actually, that's where most people quit. And we see that in our industry, in real estate, where people commit to a habit and they'll do it for 2 weeks or whatever, and they don't necessarily have all the results to show for it yet. And they get discouraged and they find themselves in that valley of disappointment. And some of them quit, which is sad, but it's a psychological thing, right? Like, we understand you have to stay on the course for 1% to actually create that change.
So it sounds like you almost need to premeditate the amount of time you're committed before you stop and focus on the valley and absorb the things that aren't going well.
Absolutely. He talks about we tend to want to focus on the outcomes. And then obviously from the outcome is there's a process, but he's actually advocating we focus on the identity, which, if you think about outcomes and processes and identity, he said, for instance, Rick, and you're a guitarist, so forgive me the elementary example here, but if you made the decision to want to learn to play the guitar, that's an outcome. Like, you're going to go after that decision, learning how to play the guitar. But he's saying, instead of saying, I'm looking to learn how to play the guitar, back it down to identity and say, hey, I want to be a musician. And if that mindset shift changes, you actually engage in habits easier than just trying to create an outcome, because the outcome creates a destination feel, where the identity creates a definite identity feel. How do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question we live into who we think we are, which is, again, half of that energy comes from inside our brain. And I was just thinking every morning, the most important thing you can do is set yourself up for success by framing up who you are, who you're becoming, and then attach it to a habit. And if you skip that step, I think the psychology of that, like you said, positioning for who, the actual energy of the outcome versus the behavior required, I think it can become distracting.
Yeah. The other thing I want to bring up as we're setting up this series here is that he talks about the habit loop. And the habit loop is, we have a cue, and that cue creates a craving. That craving creates a response. And then obviously from the response, we're looking for the reward. And then, of course, that reward creates a different cue next time. In a negative way, and if you think about habit in the negative sense, like we've talked about, like somebody that's addicted to drugs, their cue when they see the drug, and then it creates a craving, then it creates a response, and then it creates a reward, and that reward creates the cue for the next time. And we understand that there's people that chase that stuff because they're stuck in this habit loop. That's the negative example of it. But on a positive example of it, it works the same way. So how do we create cues in our life that move us to our good habits, working out, eating healthy, all those things. How do we cue it in our mind so it creates a craving, and that craving creates a response and a reward, and on through? It's just called the habit loop.
That's it. You have to start somewhere. That's the secret sauce. Step one is the most important step, because without it, you'll never have a 2 or a 3. And so maybe the cue is, again, the psychology of who you're becoming. So you identify with that person and then successfully link steps 1, 2, and 3. Quick example. I had a friend in real estate early on who taught me, the power of the setup. He wouldn't go home the night before. He wouldn't leave the office until he had a list highlighted with all of the people he was going to call. And he cleared everything on his office desk so that there was zero chaos or confusing energy. And then when he came in at 6:30 in the morning, he immediately started calling, and he wouldn't stop until he finished the list. So the cue was, the setup was there. The craving was obviously success and an appointment. And then the response was he had conversations because he was in the habit of already making those necessary calls. And then the reward was eventually you talk to enough people, you'll achieve an outcome. And the same thing's true, like you said, with even working out. You can overlay that, and maybe the cue is having your sneakers already set up at the end of the bed with your, running shorts and shirt. And then coupled with some accountability too is another secret to that. But the craving, you start to fill that craving by the activity and the energy that goes with it. And the response is a physical feedback. And then the third part is the reward. But to your point, you've got to get past the valley. It has to become somewhat habitual. It doesn't happen on the first day.
Well, and just kind of speaking to what you're talking about on the habit loop, if somebody's used to being on the couch and not working out at all, it's really hard to find that cue that starts that habit loop, but you got to find a way to find it. But somebody that's in the habit of working out, that cue is actually really easy to find, because you've already reprogrammed your brain around the reward of feeling good or feeling the muscles, and you start to retrain your brain in how to do these things. It becomes easier over time.
So how does somebody establish a re-engineered cue, if you will, for something that's more productive or healthy? Maybe it's diet.
It could be. I mean, I think this is where advocates come in. I think this is where coaching comes in. I think this is where attending a Mojo Monday, where we're talking about it today. Maybe somebody, this session today reminds somebody to create a cue for their life tomorrow. And, everybody goes through life and makes changes throughout their life. You got to ask yourself, what causes you to make that change? And be in tune with those things. Like when you get out of shape, what causes you to re-cue that in your life? When you're wanting to be productive in work and you feel unproductive, what cue do you need to pay attention to institute into your life, right?
That's it. Remind yourself of the why, like have it posted or somewhere published so that it's an obvious reminder. And then the other piece, like as an example, every morning it was recommended that I take turmeric, collagen, I've got a mega vitamin, and then I've got a, cholesterol medicine that my doctor suggested I take for a season while I rework some of my behavioral activities around exercise and diet. And the key is if those are hidden somewhere in a drawer, I'll just forget or run right past it. But what I've done is position those 4 things right in front of my coffee mug, which I know I'll never miss. And then I link those 2 together, making it undeniably impossible to ignore.
Yeah. Awesome.
And now it's a habit. Every morning I'm just used to stirring in the collagen and turmeric, which is good for bone and skin and, and inflammation. And there you go. And then the results showed up over time. I feel better.
I love it. All right. So here's where I want to leave us today, Rick. What are the habits you need to engage into in your life? What are the habits that maybe you used to have a really good habit in your life that you've gotten away from? Or maybe there's that one habit you probably should engage, whether it's waking up on time, health, work, personal relationship. You could almost kind of look at the wheel of life a little bit and see where the habits lie inside of that. But at the end of the day, I want you to challenge yourself as we're going through this series. What are the habits my life needs in order to live my best life? And then let's look for cues. So we can put those cues in place, right? Challenge us.
I think you nailed it. The challenge is to take a, kind of do that self-examination experience and put it in your day planner. I love the statement in the book, you are your habits. Yeah. And that alone is kind of a sobering thought. And the only way to examine your habits is to either look at your day planner or reflect on the things you did if you don't track your behavior in a day planner. So maybe a piece of this is just taking time to actually document where you're investing your time and what your current habits are, and then rate them 1 to 10. Are they serving you or not? And then the next level conversation would be what has to change to evolve into a different habit.
There you go. Rick Hale, Mojo Monday, sir.
Mojo Monday, guys. Have an awesome week.